find some sort of harmony and balance.
All right, theme, what was the theme of the event again?
I love this. So when Bryan walks in the door and we're going to do a training, he always says, okay, what are we training? What am I speaking about? Like literally that's
Consistency, what was it? Consistency, communication, anything else?
Consistency, conversations, yeah.
Consistency.
Communication.
All right, who here by show of hands is very consistent?
Sorry, it's not Mountain Spring.
Cool, thank you. It's okay, we'll make do. I know you are, bro. You're killing it. Anyone else? Yeah? You set out your schedule for 5 days out of the week. You would say you follow it at least 80% of the time?
Probably close to 95.
Good. That's a good man right there, right? Here, you come teach the class. Cool. Consistency, right? And we're talking communication. My favorite subject. Okay, let's start with this, right? You watch a movie. What in the movie, aside from the special effects and all that stuff, gets you into it? It's the story, right? It's the narrator, it's the characters, it's you getting involved in the story and literally either living it, right? Or listening to it and becoming so entrenched in the experience that you're like, oh man, like it's literally in your system, you feel it. So I realized early on, just in life in general, but when I got into this business about 10 years ago, that this is it, man. Like if I can speak to people in a certain way and make them feel a certain way, I can pretty much get whatever I want in life. And to me, as I do, that's the hack. Because how do we approach this thing otherwise? Oh, I need to be born into the family to live in a certain place. Right? Like people used to say, oh man, you're in LA. Like, fuck, I need to move to LA. Like that's the land of opportunity out there. Bro, I don't care where you're at. You can sell real estate in Lakeland, Miami, LA, fucking Seattle, Washington, it doesn't matter. It's the mentality coming into it and the understanding of this, right? Because when I was new, I said, okay, I'm new. How many of you in here right now are in the business less than 2 years, as an example? Most of you, right? So you can't step up to the plate and go against me. My credentials are way better than Bryan's. You know, he's sold this amount of homes, I've sold this amount. Like you can't walk around with that mafioso energy like, I'm number one, what's up? You can't walk into the room like, you know who I am, because you're new. I was like that too. This is your equalizer, because now when I do a presentation, right, my whole goal is when I do the presentation is, yes, I'm gonna do a classic listing presentation, but I want you to feel so comfortable with me and confident in me as an agent that it doesn't matter about how many homes that I've sold, because you're gonna be like, oh, I just feel really comfortable with him. Right? Oh, he just felt like the right one. You're going to start hearing stuff like that. That's the beauty of the communication aspect of it. But you need to look at it from the right perspective. Like what I just said, you have to understand. Everything I said in the beginning about the movies, everything I said about moving people emotionally when you speak to them, you have to really say, okay, no, this is it. Because what do? We'll run to everything else. Oh, I need the fancier suit. I need the nicer car. I need the branded shirt that says, oh yeah, I'm this. I need the fucking fancy realtor pin. Oh, once I put that on the suit, that's it. I got all the fucking listings, right? That's the dumb shit we say as realtors, right? Like, oh man, I get that. Like, oh man, I get the shiny shoes. That's it. I'm just gonna walk in and be like, look, Mr. Seller, take a look. Like, that's it. And we think that, right? But in reality, it's this. Because everything about you communicates to the world 24/7, right? How you dress, how you carry yourself, everything. I know my fucking tattoos and earrings and all this shit, the long hair, that speaks to people a certain way. So I understand. And when you look at it from this position, it's very tactical. It's like we're playing chess, right? If I do have the option of pulling up to the seller's house in a Lamborghini, you best fucking believe I'm gonna do it, of course. Because then when I walk out, they're gonna be like, oh shit, this guy's driving a Lambo. Now, aside from all the trolls that would talk shit to you online, that affects people. Why? I had one for 3 fucking years, I know. Okay? When you drive that thing down the street, even people who don't want to look at it are like, right? Like, it's one of those, it's like a magnet, it draws people in. Why? Because the name, the way it looks, the way it sounds, it's fucking sexy, man. Right? Like, I remember when I bought that car, right? Excuse me, I know these are your chips. It's in my garage, right? The first day I wake up, I run to the garage, I'm like, damn, that shit is mine. And I would sit in it, because I remember vividly like going to the dealerships and asking to sit in it. And like, I was like, man, like I was a fucking little kid with that shit on the wall. I ripped that shit out of a magazine and put it on the wall. Boom. I was like, I'm gonna have one of these motherfuckers one day. Right? Everyone's like, oh man, you're crazy. You're never gonna have one. I'm like, fuck you, I'm gonna have one. Watch me. And then to have it, it's like, oh shit. Like this is amazing. Right? So when we start piecing all these things together, right, I learned a lot along this journey. Because I've been in the business now for 10 years. You know, Paula asked me to speak on these things. So I'm going to give you some technical stuff today for sure that you can apply. But a lot of it is going to have to do with you, your perspective on yourself and your career, and the internal shifts that you need to make to attack every day and do the basic things. Like I brought up schedule and being consistent. What allows that is not me giving you, oh, this is the perfect schedule, right? It's everything behind that. It's you. Because you're with you 24/7. When you go to sleep, you're with you. When you wake up, you're with you. When you work and you're not in this room around everybody, right? You're at home on your laptop making calls, or you're out and you're gonna go door to door or do the open house or whatever. You're with yourself, right? Nobody's watching you. And that's when the true character comes out, right? When nobody's looking. If you're at home and you're fucking sweats and you're a slouch, like that's the real you. Right? And a lot of people are like, oh shit, I don't want the world to see it. But that's the real you when nobody's looking. Right? And I tell people, that's when you need to be your sharpest. So if I just pop up and I'm like, hey, like you're sharp. Right? And that's why like I remember the first 4 years in the business, I would always wear a suit. Like I would go to fucking sleep in a suit. Right? Everywhere I went, I was like, you'd catch me in the shower, you'd pull the curtain open, I'm in my suit, like, what's up, man? Good to see you, Bryan, right? Like just because that's what I call, this is the word, transformation, right? You all got into this business a certain way, and you're gonna have to transform into a better version of yourself, a more evolved version of yourself that sells more real estate, that's consistent with their schedule or whatever it is. And you're gonna have to find the pieces of that puzzle to put it together to allow you to step into that. And that's really the journey for me from the beginning, okay? So I wish this whole fucking wall was a board, right? I'm gonna cover a few things with you guys, okay? First one is this. I want you to write this down. You have what's given to you. You gave me these shitty fucking pens on purpose, huh, Paula? You're fucking with me, huh? And this is what you seek and commit to. Okay, well, fuck, can't even read it, but I'll just say it, right? What's given to you, what you seek and commit to. Okay? You want to be the best of the best at anything, your ass is going to have to go out there and find the top people, the top information, the books. You're going to have to go find it. It's not going to fall into your lap if you want to be the best at something. Because when I speak to you guys, that's the perspective I'm coming from. I'm not coming here like, oh, let me teach you how to be an above average agent. Fuck that, dude. If that's what you want, then just leave the room. Because I don't even want that energy around me. You want to come around me, you better want to be great. Because that's what I'm going to expect from you. You're going to get that from me all the time. Right? But again, you can't be held to that standard because I'm forcing you to be to that standard. That has to be what you put on yourself and expect of yourself when you step up. So when I got into the business first year, it's like, I want to do $250,000 in commission. That was my goal. I ended up doing half that my first year. All from going door to door and making cold calls in LA, right? 100% my own effort. Was it easy? Hell no, it wasn't easy. It was very hard, but I made it happen. But I held myself to that standard, right? So what did I seek? Everything. I went to find the best people. I got into coaching right away, right? I went to every fucking event locally to try to find the best people. All my time and effort was dedicated to this, not what was given to me. I didn't have anything given to me. That'd be like me showing, like this mentality, what's given to you, that's basically, I'll take what I can get with minimal effort. Meaning, okay, I joined Century 21. If you guys remember that company, right? I joined Century 21. That would be like me staying in the brokerage and saying, okay, like give me coaching, give me everything. Like, dude, when you guys need to understand, 10 years ago when I got into the business, you get to the company, they're like, oh, you're new? Okay, cool, here's your desk. Get to work. That's it. That's the training that you get. And then maybe once a week, somebody comes in and talks for 30 minutes. Like, it was different. I was happy if somebody talked to me. Like, oh, the top agent talked to me. That's cool. But how do we come in now? A lot of agents come in now like, well, you should give me this and you should give me that. Dude, this is what's given to you. A broker doesn't technically owe you shit. You're an independent contractor. Your success is up to you. Because take a look at it from a broker's perspective, right? What are the statistics in our industry? What is it, like 93% of people fail within the first year or two and they're out of the business? So me as a broker, why would I invest in you if 9 out of 10 of you are gonna fail? Does that make any sense for me to invest all my time and effort training you from a business standpoint if most people are gonna fail? Well, of course not. Again, it's not required because technically you're not an employee of theirs, you're an independent contractor. What's the key word there? Independent. It's on you. So I knew that from the beginning. If they gave me something, that's cool, but what am I really gonna go after? I put out a video on YouTube, that's great, but that's given to you. My question first would be, what are you doing every day to get better at your career or improve where you need to improve, particularly in communication? How many of you do public speaking classes? My question is, why the fuck not? If you can speak in front of this room, is it safe to say that if you get one-on-one with the seller, it's gonna be easy or easier if you can do that? If I can talk and entertain and teach and move 20, 30 people in a room, sitting with one seller is easy now. It's like, okay, this is like a warm-up now. This is like practice. What are we doing every day when we're on the phones, when we're doing open houses, when we're going door to door, when we're meeting with clients? What are we doing? So why would you not work on that? How many of you practice with people and role play every day? Like your dialogues and scripts, and I mean like you seriously work on it, where they drill you and they make it hard. Or interrupt you. Hey, my name is, I don't care, get to the point. Like that. Now I know people in Florida, for the most part, don't talk like that, right? I'm not from here though, it's a little different. But we would practice all ends of the spectrum. We would practice with the nice person, the mean person, the direct person, the emotional person, right? Like all the personality type stuff that we went over, right? So the question becomes, why not? That's your job. Or y'all getting, trying to get pretty and dance on TikTok and all that bullshit that people do, right? That doesn't make you any money. I know people, just so you guys know, I know a lot of people in the industry, right? Because I'm one of the, I consider myself one of the OGs when it comes to creating content. And a lot of people that you follow, I guarantee you, I'm not gonna say names, that have a lot of followers, you think they're getting a lot of business because of the followers. They're not. It's all for their own fucking ego. It doesn't get them any clients. It's just, oh, look at me, I have 100,000, 500,000 followers or whatever it is. It's not directly related to them getting more business. So what's the point of getting 100 comments, 10,000 likes and all that other bullshit if it doesn't mean anything for your business? Right? I'd rather you have 100 followers and be able to come up here and rock the stage, because then I know that's gonna translate out there in the real world. Because that's where we work and that's who we deal with, is real people in the real world, period. Social media to me has almost become repulsive. I don't even want to look at it anymore. I think I spend less than an hour on my phone screen time every day. And I produce content and do all that. So the vast majority of my time on the phone is that. I'm not randomly scrolling and doing all that stuff. I'm working on this. I'm training all the time. I'm refining my public speaking, because that's what it's about. So there's an organization called Toastmasters. If you guys haven't heard of it, I recommend all of you sign up. It's $20 for the year, and it will force you, right? At least when I was doing it, I did it for 2 years straight. Every day you show up, they make you do a quick speech. It's 3 to 5 minutes. Every time, everybody has to participate. And then they critique it. And then I think 3 or 4 people per week, depending on the size of your group, are gonna have their formal speeches, right? And that one would be from, I think, 7 to 12 minutes. Well, they'll give you a topic, and you're expected, based on the criteria that they give you, to go up on stage and give a speech. And then they'll critique it again. They'll say, you did this right, work on this. But it's gonna make you more comfortable being put on the spot. Because when you show up the first time and okay, go on stage and talk, and you've never done it before, it's gonna be like if I take you to the comedy club and I make you talk in front of everybody and do improv. Have any of you ever done that? Who's done improv? I've done it twice. You done it? How was the experience?
It was awesome.
Yeah? Did you crash and burn?
Oh yeah, everybody does. There
we go.
But you walk away knowing that I can do that.
Exactly. Who else did it? Did you do it? Yeah?
In college.
Yeah?
How many minutes was it?
I mean, I guess it depends where you go. Like ours was 5 minutes. How long was yours? Do you remember? 5 minutes, yeah. Huh? And where I did it in LA, it wasn't like, oh, it's set up that night for that. No, they would put you on when all the other comedians are coming on. So if you suck, you get booed off stage and they throw shit at you. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, you know? But like, again, like I wanted to do it for that reason. Because look, you look at, how many of you in here, like me, maybe are ex-athletes? Damn, fuck, I'm in the wrong fucking room, man, shit. Okay. This is what I'm gonna write here, right? Intensity level, right? And I remember this from playing basketball. You practice up here, well, the game is down here. So it's the same thing with this. Improv, Toastmasters. If we're gonna talk, again, intensity level, I know you can't see this. I wanna practice and operate up here. So when I do my regular day-to-day stuff that's here, it's not a problem. If I'm used to talking in front of 20 people, talking in front of 1 or 2 is easy. If I'm used to putting unnecessary pressure on myself all the time, then my day-to-day stuff is easy. If we role play and you push me and then I get on the call and it's easy, it's easy. That's how you make it easy. That's the easy button. You know that stupid ass commercial with the, oh, that was easy. That's the easy button, right? But again, we're in an industry now and you're in a position where I, Paula, or nobody can force you to do that. You have to set that standard for yourself. Does anybody in here have like a set standard and like, I could even say code of ethics that they live their life by? That like, if I asked you, you can give me like a list and be like, oh yeah, here you go. Here's my code of ethics, right? Like, you know, you look at the old movies like the Spartans, are like no retreat, no surrender. And you know, you're gonna do this and you're gonna do that. And they just live by a code in their society. Like back then, you wouldn't get a gravestone unless you fought in battle or you died giving birth to a child. That's how you got a gravestone in Sparta. Otherwise, they wouldn't give you a gravestone. You had to earn that shit. So regardless of what you think about it, there's a standard that they live by. You would be shamed publicly if your physique wasn't on point because you were expected to be able to go into battle and decimate anybody. That standard. Now, some people, oh man, that shit is crazy. I agree, it can be. But they were literally unstoppable for a long time when it came to hand-to-hand combat. So what's the outcome here? And for me, I want to be unstoppable when I go meet with the seller. I want to be able to go up against the guy that sells 300 homes and whoop his ass every time. Don't you? Well, that's the weapon. So how do we do it? Well, here's one that you can apply technically, right? There's always something that you can point at, a metric that you can create that will allow you to win. Case in point. I remember early on in my career, in some of the areas that I was working in, like 3 out of the 5 cities that I worked in a certain part of LA County, there was 2 or 3 other teams that were huge, right? They had like 20 people, 15 people, 25 people. And like I couldn't compete with them on paper, right? They're selling 100 homes, 150, 200. I'm like, fuck, man, like I need to figure something out. Otherwise, if we always play that game, I'm never gonna win. Because then people will say, oh, they've sold 150, you sold 5. Of course, I'm gonna go with them. So I started doing research and saying, okay, what, without lying, right? Because our industry is full of bullshit, right? Without lying, how can I create a competitive advantage over my competition? Okay, so number one, you need to know your metrics, your numbers. I started looking and I realized, I'm like, man, these guys take 200 listings, but they only sell 150. Okay, that's a 75% sale rate, right? Just to keep the numbers clean. They take 200, they sell 150. That means there's 50 homeowners who didn't sell. I've taken 5, but guess what? I've sold all 5. So what does that make my sell percentage? So what sounds better to you, Mr. Seller? A 100% chance to sell or a 75% chance to sell? Now, I'm not necessarily pointing at the fact that they sold 150 and I sold 5, but I'm focusing on that metric, because is that an honest metric comparing me and that other team? Well, yeah. Does that make you look better? Yes. And you didn't have to lie or cheat or steal or bend any facts. You just gave them the truth. Now, for those of you who are new, who are like, I have no sales, use your brokerage stats or use your team stats. That's what you got to do until you start creating your own portfolio of sales, right? But that was one of the first things I did. You know why I started doing that? Because I was sick of going on listing appointments and not getting them signed. That's why. How many of you are going on listing appointments every week? I already know, bro. You don't have to raise your hand. Show off. Okay, cool. And the rest of you, why not? I don't care if you're newer. You know what my rule is that I say? If you've been in the business more than a year, you're not a new agent anymore. You can't say that. You know why? Because that's a cop-out. You're not new. You just haven't started producing yet, but you're not new, right? Why? Why do I tell you that? Because when you say you're a new agent, then everything you do it as a new agent. Do you want to do that forever? No. Because then you start looking at, the new agent content and all this and all that, and you mentally keep yourself, and I'm a new agent, I'm a new agent, I'm a new agent. Then I talk to you 3 years later, well, I've only been in the business 6 years, I'm still a new agent. It's like, shut up, man. That's weak. That's a weak mentality. That's a stuck mentality. If you want to write this down, a stuck mind is a weak mind. A stuck mind is a weak mind. You don't want to be looking at that stuff. You want to, it's just like the new agent, you need to work with buyers. No, dude, go for sellers. What are you doing? Why would you start with the buyer? Like, I remember people telling me that, and I would tell them, like, that makes no sense. What do you mean I'm supposed to start with the buyer? What the fuck does that have to do with selling a house? Oh, well, you get your feet wet by, working with buyers. I'm like, I want to work with sellers, bro. I don't want to work with buyers. Now, some of you might work with buyers. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it shouldn't be, I'm a new agent. I need to work with buyers. Why? Why? If anything, it was the person who wanted to recruit you, wanted to put you on their team, and they said work with buyers, and they're trying to train you, right? Now they have an ulterior motive. Not your best interest, they have their own best interest in mind. And they're willing to throw you under the bus to do it. That's our industry, unfortunately, right? They want to mold you to fit their role. Same thing with some teams that you join, they'll tell you, you need to be a buyer's agent. That's why I went by myself from day one. I said, I'm not going to join a team, bro. Help you build your empire? No, thank you. Because that was their type of team and mentality. I didn't want that, right? So if you're not focusing on sellers, you need to focus on sellers 100%. Well, we talked about consistency and communication. That's the theme of this thing, right? How many of you right now are prospecting regularly? Meaning you're out there talking to people, right? I know some of you are. Okay. How many people are you talking to every day on average, would you say?
50 to 75.
Okay. You're a monster. Good. How about you guys? One?
Maybe once, yeah. At my job, I kind of talked to
Cool.
people. Yesterday, I was in Clearwater, so I was talking to people.
Cool. About 5?
5 to
Those are rookie numbers. You guys got to get that up. You got to join my friend over here and be doing 50 a day. So I did on average about 50 a day when I started. Now, is that hardcore? Yes. Maybe you're not going to fall at 50 or 75, but I would recommend you guys talk to at least 30 people every day. And it doesn't have to be in the way that you think, where it's just cold calling and door knocking. Dude, when I would go to lunch, I'd go to the mall and I'm like, you know what?
It's so easy. It's so easy to engage on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, because once you engage on social media, then they're gonna, in true engagement on social media, commenting and being sincere on it, then they're gonna know exactly what you are, and you're gonna stay top of mind.
Yeah.
So.
And it's real easy too when you guys are in that process of talking to people to capture their information, especially nowadays with social media. You get somebody to follow you on Instagram, they're going to see everything that you do. But that's where the game is played. You guys have to be face to face or on the phone or having conversations with people on a daily basis. If you're not in the game, right? How are you going to get an opportunity if you're not doing it, right? We think maybe based on TV, I'm just going to get my license and show up, and people are, no, dude, that's not the way it's going to. You have to go out there and get it. People are bombarded so much with social media and other people that their attention is being stolen 24/7. This is why sometimes too, if you guys are like following up with people, or somebody gave you the word, I'll call you back, or call me back tomorrow, and then you call and they don't pick up, you get upset about it. Man, they have so much other shit going on. It's up to you to continue following up with them and being persistent to then get their attention, because you don't know what they're dealing with or what has their attention. So I don't take it personally, because that's the first thing we need to do when we communicate with people is nothing you can do I take personally. You can even be yelling at me. You fucking realtors, this and that. You don't have a problem with me. You're just upset because other people are selling you all the time and you don't like it. That has nothing to do with me. But what do? You get in your feelings about it. Oh man, fuck this guy. He's, all mad and shit. And then, it flusters you, and now it affects your next call, or you stop calling. You're like, man, fuck, I don't want to do this shit anymore, right? But why do we do it? Because you don't have enough practice and proficiency in communication yet, and you take things personally. Why? And the worst part is that's the example that we saw growing up, because a lot of the stuff that you guys exhibit, and that we all exhibit on a personality level, it's just what we picked up from our family and friends and the people that we were raised around, right? and you think it's normal. Or even worse, you think you can't change it. Oh, that's just the way I am, right? I fucking can't stand when people say that shit. Oh, it's just the way I am. It's just bullshit. You want to be that way and you don't want to fucking change it. That's what it is. Admit it. Like I would literally my old friends, because I separated a lot from my old friends growing up, right? And when I took this last trip to LA, I hung out with some of them and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here, right? Just ass backwards mentality, saying dumb stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, but you'll reach out to me and tell me you want fucking help. And then when I give you help, you don't take it, right? And I started getting mad with them. And I grew up with some of these dudes, man. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Right? Like, we're close enough to where we can get kind of aggressive with each other. I'm like, what's going on, dude? Like, stop asking me for help if you're not going to listen. And some of these things come out. I'm like, dude, you want to be this way. Admit it. Because the first step to the change is that you admit it. Right? You want to start operating at a different level in front of people. You want to get a certain amount of respect from people. Not that you demand it, but your presence commands it from people. Is you need to be able to do stuff like this. You got to put your ego to the side and admit to yourself, I need help. Or you know what? Yes, I've been bullshitting myself for 10 years. I need to change something, man. Because this is a mentality. This isn't a following a schedule or something simple like that. This is you with you. Like for me to sleep in, if I said I was going to wake up at 6 is unacceptable. Unacceptable, not going to happen. If I told you, hey, I'm going to be there tomorrow at 7, I'll be there at 7. And the best part is when I give you my word to any of you who actually know me, you know I'm going to show up at 7. And if I don't, you're going to be like, shit, a meteor must have hit his fucking house and he died. Like, you wouldn't think, oh, he probably slept in. You wouldn't think that of me if you actually know me. Why? Because my word is my bond. And I've demonstrated that over the years, and you're not going to hold me to the same standard as everybody else. So what do you think a client will do with me? You think they're going to set a little bit of time aside to talk to me? Of course, because I have that level of respect for me. But I first have that level of respect for myself to do these things and say, hey, I'm fucking up. I need some help. Or, hey, I need to do this. Or, you know what? I suck at communicating like I did in the beginning, but I need to do something about it. Let's fix it. Let's get better. I would be the one going on video saying, I'm terrible at video, but this is video number 1 of 1,000 that I'm going to do in this challenge, right? Because then I would ask that to all of you. Are you willing to be vulnerable and embarrass yourself and let people hate on you? Because I am. Why? Because when you allow that to happen and you don't respond to it, it loses its power. That's why. And many of you will hesitate to knock on the door or post on social media because you're afraid of that. Oh, what's my mom going to say? I used to catch, my mom's like, why you always got to cuss? Right? Stop fucking saying fuck and all this other shit. Right? In Spanish, right? She would tell me that, right? But it's like, dude, at the end of the day, and again, you'll stop yourself. I used to stop myself. I'm like, man, my mom's going to see this shit and complain, or, my brother, or this and that. But then you're like, dude, this is what that does is it clouds your creative process as an entrepreneur. Right? Because now you will hesitate to take an action for you in your life because of a potential from someone, right? And they don't even know that you're thinking that. That's the crazy part. That's the crazy part. But in reality, I do it. My mom says that. I'm like, well, it's just the way I make videos. She's going to say that anyway. Why? I can't control how other people respond to me. Can I manipulate it to a degree? Sure. Because of communication, absolutely. But I can't 100% control any of you. Can I? No, I can't. I don't have that fucking power yet, right? I can't mind control people. We can't do that. So again, why would I care then? Why would I care? Even if all of you just got up and walked out, how do you think I would respond if that happened, Paula? I'd be like, hey, let's go get something to eat. And then on the way there, walking there, I'll grab 10 more people and we'll have another lecture, right? Like the girl that I got from the Uber to come to our lecture in Georgia. Like, dude, I do that shit all the time, bro. But that's just fun, right? So I got in Georgia, right? I was in Atlanta, and the girl who gave me an Uber, I was talking to her in the Uber. I actually got her to stop Ubering and then come to the training, right? It was fucking hilarious, bro.
He's meeting me for lunch,
Yeah.
and he's like,
And she-
"Well, I'll send this girl online." He's like, oh, she comes to the training. She's my Uber driver. I'm like,
There you go, man. So, but again, that's communication, right? Because I would ask some of you ladies in here, you have to be super comfortable with the dude that you just met to stop Ubering, go to a fucking room with strangers. Like, that's a lot to ask from a woman, from a woman's perspective, right? So I made that as a point, and I was asking her questions during the presentation just so people would get it, because we were talking a lot about communication. I said, that's that. There's nothing else about me that fucking made her comfortable, right? Because fucking look at me, right? So when we're really discussing this stuff and saying, okay, like, I know where I'm starting, the whole premise behind what I just said about going on video and saying, hey, I'm not good. I'm not good. That's you accepting your starting point, which for a lot of people, they won't do. What will they do? They'll start, right? You'll start in real estate, but what do you show the world? You try to give off this, oh, I'm already selling a lot of houses, this hot shot fucking attitude and image that we know is bullshit. Why? To protect your ego. So you think that everyone else, you could think absolutely nothing about yourself. You could be like, I'm a piece of shit. Like, you could literally dig a hole for yourself, but you're so concerned about what other people think about you. Make that shit make sense, where you will wallow in your own misery, but you're okay because other people think you're doing better than you are. Does that make any fucking sense? I'm the opposite. I think of myself up here. Everyone else can think of me down here. I don't give a shit. Why? Because there's also you have to understand your thought process